everyone, and welcome back to Plot Twists and Freudian Slips podcast.
I'm Jules, a licensed therapist who spends all day analyzing people.
And I'm Mary, a diehard bookworm who loves to use books as an escape from reality.
And this is the podcast where we take fictional characters, drag them out of their fantasy worlds, and put them right here on the couch.
Because sometimes happily ever after is actually just codependency in a trench coat.
So, Mary, before we open today's file, what is the current state of your bookshelf? What kind of books are you currently reading?
Well, I've kind of slowed down now that it's like the holiday season. So when we're recording this, and I'm working a lot, picking up a lot of extra shifts with my part-time job.
Money.
Yeah. So I've slowed down. So I haven't been reading much. Besides, for those of you who don't know, Jules and I are in a book club with a few of our other friends. So I've been mainly just reading like those books each month, plus like a few like holiday books here and there. But
We love a holiday romance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something easy, simple. I don't have to like really sit there and like digest like a fantasy book where there's world building and all that jazz.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for our book club, we last month read Shield of Sparrows, I think is what it was called.
That was the one prior to last month. Last month was The Dead Romantics.
Shows how much I know. Yes, that was
Wrong.
October's, and then we had The Dead Romantics last month, and then when we met, we kind of combined both of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dead Romantics, I thought was so good. Shield of
I hated it.
Sparrows. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I hated it.
coming on this podcast and talking with Mary about books and whatnot, while we might like similar genres, it is becoming very apparent that we have very different tastes in books within those genres, which I kind of love. I love the
Yeah.
dichotomy of that.
For sure.
Yeah. So Shield of Sparrows, to me, it reminded me of like a book that I would have loved reading if I was 12.
Mm.
But being in my late 20s, it just didn't do it for me. But
Yeah,
Dead
well-
Romantics, I liked.
The Shield of Sparrows book, that was Daphne Perry's first like dip into like fantasy writing, because she is mainly known for like small town romance.
Oh. I didn't know that. It was well written.
Yeah.
It just was like very much slow burn and not a lot of like reward from the slow burn, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think probably because she's trying to like stretch it out for the series, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
all right, so if you're new here, here's how this works. I bring in a book and its characters, bring it to the table. Usually Jules hasn't heard of it or read it, and I give her the plot, the drama, the red flags, the tea, if you will.
And then I apply clinical theories to explain why they're acting the way that they're acting. Usually it seems like some sort of chaotic mess. So we'll talk about symptoms, diagnoses, and then some potential treatment plans.
Basically, I ruin the romance with logic.
And I ruin the fantasy with science. It's really a beautiful partnership.
Absolutely. Before we dive in, I will say content and trigger warnings for this book will be in the show notes below, but please take those seriously. If you feel that something is going to be too triggering for you, stop listening to this episode and we'll just see you in the next one. And as far as spoiler alerts go, because we're talking about the characters in depth and what they go through, there'll be major spoilers for this book. So if you haven't read it yet, pause this episode, go read it, and come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, we're just going to dive right in. Are you ready to
Yes.
open the file, Jules?
Absolutely. As usual, I have my handy dandy notebook ready. So who is walking into the office today?
All right. We have a character from the book The Inmate by Frieda McFadden.
Hi.
It's a little thriller for you this week.
I think I have read this one, but it's been a while.
Okay.
So let's
I'll refresh
do a little
your memory.
refresh. Yeah.
Yep. So our main character is Brooke Sullivan. She is a single mother of a 10-year-old boy named Josh. She is a nurse practitioner. She's 28 years old. And she went through something really traumatic when she was younger. It's a constant theme here in this podcast.
Took it right out of my mouth. Absolutely. We do enjoy trauma over here,
Yep.
apparently. Or at least Mary does. So Brooke Sullivan, 28, single mother.
Yep.
What else is going on with Brooke?
She recently got a new job at a MAC security prison. as like a nurse practitioner for the inmates. So she just moved back to her hometown. The way she describes it is like a beautiful town, trees on every corner, picturesque old houses, friendly neighbors, and she's moving back into her old house that she got from her parents when her parents both died recently in a car crash.
Okay, this is coming back to me now. I'm starting to
Yeah.
remember it a little bit.
The only problem with her new job is that it being at the max security prison is there is a prisoner in there that she put away for life from her testimony that currently resides there.
Gotcha. Okay. So if Brooke were in my office, I would have a couple of questions for her. Part of our intake session, which is kind of like a getting to know you, making sure that we have all the relevant information and that we'd be a good fit moving forward, client and therapist wise.
Yeah.
So, what was Brooke's childhood like? Let's start there.
Yeah, so she's only child. Parents were super strict. Didn't let her wear makeup. They did not approve of her boyfriend, Shane Nelson, who was her high school sweetheart, who is currently in prison for something that he did, that she said that he did when they were younger. She had a childhood best friend who also lived in the neighborhood named Tim Reese that she reconnects with when she moves back. He's now an assistant principal at her son's school, but he was also there the night of the traumatic events that led to the arrest of her boyfriend.
Okay. With Brooke, growing up, any siblings? No siblings?
I don't believe a sibling was mentioned, no.
Okay. And parents together, not together? What did that look like?
They're dead.
Okay. There's the trauma.
Yeah, well, they were together, but from what I remember, Brooke saying her parents didn't have the best relationship, and her dad used to cheat on her mom quite a bit.
Okay. So when they were together, it wasn't super great.
Right. And they weren't super great to her either once she had her kid, because she had her kid at 18. They wouldn't really ever let her come visit her town because they didn't want the town to know that their daughter...
Gotcha.
You know? So then she eventually cut off like communication with her parents like 5 years prior to her moving back and them dying in the car crash.
So parents' relationship was not super great. Dad was cheating on mom a lot, but sounds like they both died.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that has got to be the traumatic event that you were referencing.
No. Because they died in her later years. So she's 28 now. I think they died like recently. The traumatic event happened when she was like 17, 18.
Okay. Before we dive into this traumatic event, any other thing that would be important for us to know about Brooke Sullivan?
Yeah, so she did testify that it was Shane, her boyfriend at the time, but she's not quite sure just because she doesn't quite have a lot of memories and or she couldn't see very well, so she did it based on smell, and she thought she smelled her boyfriend's aftershave.
So, hold on. She doesn't have like great memory, that's common with traumatic events, but at the time she couldn't see well.
Yeah, I think it was like dark, like there was like a really bad storm and something, the lights went out, but
Gotcha.
But yeah, so then that happened. She had a kid, Shane's kid.
Okay.
Which has kind of created that animosity between her parents. She never told Shane that he was the father of her kid because she doesn't want anything to do with him.
Right.
When she moves back, she has a babysitter, Margie, I believe her name is, that helps out.
Okay.
And that'll be an important person to remember later on.
Okay. And does her kiddo know about Dad's existence? Or...
He knows nothing of like him being in prison. All he knows is he's alive and he's from this town they moved back to, but they really moved back because her son was getting bullied quite a bit at the old school because she was a single mom, so they were calling him bastard.
Oh my gosh. Kids are so mean.
I know.
Okay. So, let me summarize what you've told me so far, but let me know if I'm missing anything or if I get anything wrong. So, we have Brooke Sullivan, 28, single mother of a kiddo that she had with an ex-boyfriend that she put away with her testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, testimony.
Yeah.
When she, testified against him, solidified the deal and put him away. Then there is Tim Reese, who was a childhood friend. Her son is babysat by some woman named Margie, who apparently is important. Growing up, Sounds like she was an only child, stricter parents. The relationship wasn't super great. She ends up moving away because they don't support her in her journey of motherhood. Cool.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything? And she's a nurse practitioner at
Yeah,
the
and
maximum
she gets a new
prison.
job at the prison, knowing that he's there, but doesn't tell people that have hired her or her bosses or anything. But
What's like the general vibe that you get from Brooke? Like, is she bubbly? Is she nice? Is she quiet? Reserved?
I think she's pretty quiet and reserved.
Okay.
Just trying to make money to support her and her son. Just trying to not think about too much of what happened. And I'll kind of give you a brief rundown of what happened. So her high school sweetheart, Shane, Tim, and a couple of her friends, Chelsea, Kayla, and Brandon, all decided to go to Shane's house one night for like a little get-together party.
And this is, I'm assuming, when she was in high school?
Yeah, when she was 17, 18. And that night, she believes that Shane brutally murdered Chelsea, Kayla, and Brandon and tried to murder her and Tim.
Oh, okay.
So that's how he ended up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Her testimony was the key to getting him evicted. Because she identified Shane as her attacker.
Evicted?
Convicted.
Oh. I was like, yes,
evicted from the world.
I was like, evicted from his home. That is what happens when you go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, convicted for sure. Gotcha.
Yeah. So she is desperate for a job when she comes back, and that's the only place that calls her back. So she kind of hides her connection to Shane from the staff, because any association with an inmate is obviously forbidden.
Mm-hmm. So do they meet like again in prison? Like,
yeah.
they interact?
So
okay.
she hopes that like it'll take a while for them to meet, but like her second day there, he gets injured, so she's forced to stitch him up, and he immediately insists that he's innocent, claiming that he was framed, like whatever.
Right.
And when she goes and reads his like file, the nurse practitioner that had worked there before had written down the bottom, manipulative, drug seeking.
About Shane.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. So that tells us that other people don't maybe agree with his version of events, don't think that he's innocent, that, yeah, maybe there's some manipulation and that he's just there to, in the infirmary, it sounds like just to get some drugs. Okay.
Right. Yep.
All right. What else is important for us to know?
So while she has moved back now, she reconnects with Tim, like I had said. He was also attacked and stabbed, so that kind of reinforced her belief that Shane was the person responsible. They began a romantic relationship now.
While she's the nurse practitioner?
Yeah. Tim. The assistant principal. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They kind of start having a little bit of romance, kind of giving her and Josh that more like family stability. All the while, Shane is insistent that he's innocent. He starts to plant seeds of doubt in her mind because she actually never saw her attacker's face. Obviously, she just recognized the sandalwood aftershave.
Ooh, sandalwood.
I know.
That's not my favorite smell. I'd recognize that too.
Clearly not Brooke's either. But while he's proclaiming his innocence, he also tries to warn her repeatedly to stay away from Tim, trying to make like Tim seem like the bad guy. Okay. But then there comes a moment where Brooke also realizes that Tim also wears the sandalwood scent.
Damn. Two guys, one cologne.
Yeah. And she's now thinking of the past and how Tim used to date one of the other murder victims. So she starts questioning things, not really trusting anything.
And both boys / men now were there that night.
Yeah.
Okay.
And originally Tim wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be Shane and Brooke, her friend Chelsea, and Brandon. And then when Brooke invited Tim along, they invited another girl to come be like,
right, so everyone
Tim's
was like,
coupled up, whatever. So she's now like suspecting that maybe Tim was the person that actually along the lines. So she's all confused. Then she finds a dead body of a missing woman in Tim's basement.
Oh. Well, that'll do it right there.
So she freaks out, recants her original statement against Shane. Shane is released.
Wait, so is Tim in trouble?
Tim's now in trouble.
But Shane gets released.
Shane gets released.
As if, I would just like to say, as if the legal system moves that fast. Hello?
Right.
But
this is fiction, though, so.
Thanks for the reminder.
This is not a true crime podcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's me in another life.
Yeah. So then she picks up Shane from prison and allows him to move in with her and Josh, now that he knows that Josh is his kid.
So she's just like, come on in.
She's just an idiot, basically. Shane starts acting like possessive and threatening, pushing Brooke to take him to the old farmhouse. That triggers some new memories for Brooke when she gets there.
Pause.
Yeah.
The old farmhouse, is that where the murders happened?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Shane's house, which is where the murders happened. He lived in
Gotcha,
like an him and his mom were like really poor.
Okay, so he is now fully moved in with Brooke and her kid and assumes what I'm assuming is like the dad role.
Yeah.
But then things quickly turn into not so great. He becomes possessive or controlling and then is really adamant about going.
They go back to where the crimes happened, and that triggers memories for her. So she now thinks, oh, maybe Shane and Tim are working together. And so she tries to run from the house to protect Josh, only to be intercepted by Margie, the babysitter, who actually turns out to be Pamela Nelson, Shane's mom.
Dang.
And she confesses that she was the mastermind behind all the murders, including framing Tim by planting Kelly's body. Kelly, the missing woman.
So, let me back up.
Lots to unpack.
How did Brooke not know that the babysitter was her ex-boyfriend's mom?
She never met the mom because the mom worked like nights or something. Okay. And then the weekend that they were there for like the little party get together, his mom was supposedly out of town.
Okay. That makes sense. Like, you're in high school, you're not necessarily like meeting the parents necessarily. Yeah. Okay. So what was the mom's motive?
So
I get
the motive,
what the motive was for having the body, like to frame Tim so that her son could get out. But yeah, what's the motive?
So it turns out Pamela was having an affair with Brooke's dad, right? Because Brooke's dad cheated on her mom a lot. And he actually promised Pamela that he would leave his family for her, but he ended up never doing that. So her rage led her to plot revenge, starting with the murders.
These innocent teenagers, killed the dad.
I know.
Last podcast episode, we were like, we were making it very clear we're anti-murder here, and here I am being like, kill the dad. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, continue. So she orchestrates the murders. Then she engineered the car crash that killed her parents recently.
So she did kill the dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually.
And the wife, the mom didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I have lots of thoughts, but that's not relevant. Yeah. Continue.
So then basically there's just a struggle ensues. Brooke shoots Pamela. We think, okay, now what? Because Josh is trying to escape. And the story he tells his mom and
who's Josh?
The kid. The 10-year-old kid.
Gotcha.
The story he tells, his mom and everyone, he was running from Shane, and it was during a big snowstorm, which one of those big things of snow fell on him and killed him.
Killed Shane.
Yeah. Pamela actually survives being shot and confesses, so Tim is able to be released from jail. And eventually,
so Tim was good all along.
Yeah, he was just being framed by Pamela and Shane.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about Shane. Shane never committed any of the murders.
Yeah, he did. He killed the kids.
Oh, he did with his mom.
No, his mom wasn't there. He did it for his mom.
Okay, but yeah, so it was like she was the mastermind, but he did the actual murdering. Yep. Okay, so he was bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the snow, you're talking about the snow. It seems like Shane
died,
dead.
Got killed by the snowdrift that fell on him.
Right.
Pamela survives getting shot by Brooke, confesses everything. So it kind of all wraps up. Tim's released from jail. Tim and Brooke kind of begin to reconcile with the hope of just continue, from then on, living a normal life in a small town with her kid.
Sure.
And then there is a crazy plot twist type of epilogue at the end.
Oh, Freida. She always does too much.
I know. And it's from Josh, the 10-year-old kid's point of view. And the reader actually learns that Shane's death was not an accident. Josh, who had been warned by Tim about the danger of Shane, overheard Shane being mean to Brooke and stabbed him repeatedly with a large icicle to save his mom.
I know we're not on here to critique the book itself.
Yeah.
But literally, Frieda McFadden, for me, for thriller books, is to what Colleen Hoover is to romance books. And that it's like a cheap thrill. She just always, it's you've got a decent plot, something
Yeah.
like maybe there's a predictable twist, but like it's decent. But then there's like this other twist that comes in that's so not like you're doing too much. Now you
Yeah.
have this like you didn't need to do that. But anyway,
Right.
I digress. That's my personal opinion about Frieda McFadden. Although she is good if you are like in a slump and you need to
Yeah.
get out of a slump.
Yeah.
But anyway, wow. Okay. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
So poor Brooke, man.
I know.
There's a lot of stuff there. And that's it. That's the end.
Yep, that's the end.
Okay. Wow. So if Brooke Sullivan were to walk into my office, what
Mhm.
do you think she would share as her presenting concern?
Probably just a lot of anxiety about moving back to her hometown where everything had happened. Her just worries for Josh after he was bullied and how he'll adjust to the new school,
Mm-hmm.
her new job, and how that she's nervous to kind of see Shane again.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned some nervousness. Any signs of like extreme nervousness, like any anxiety symptoms that you remember from the book?
She tries to go and read his file, Shane's
Mm-hmm.
file, before he becomes a patient of hers, which technically is not allowed,
True, right?
but she technically has access to it because she treats everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to like find out more prior to knowing that she had to treat him that day. But
Right. That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, trying to kind of not control the narrative, but just control what she's going to walk into. Maybe give
yeah,
herself get some alleviation of that anxiety.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving to diagnosis.
Mhm.
Again, with someone who has a lot of trauma history, we're definitely looking at something along the lines of PTSD or complex PTSD. And I will share the difference with you.
Okay.
So, the difference between PTSD and CPTSD or complex post traumatic stress disorder is
Mhm.
going to be that PTSD is more of a singular traumatic event, and complex PTSD is a series of traumatic events that have
Okay.
occurred over a long period of time.
Okay.
So, that could be like abuse or being held captive,
Mhm.
whereas like a singular traumatic event maybe would be like a car accident or something like that. So, because this was a singular um, event, I would probably say that Brooke has PTSD instead of CPTSD, but there are also a lot of different traumas, it sounds
Mhm.
like, within her history.
Yeah.
So it's pretty complicated. Um, Other than that, Shane Nelson, hard to say about him. I feel like I'm assuming that the book is kind of read through Brooke's point of view,
Mhm.
but it sounds like Shane and his mom definitely have some either personality symptoms going on, maybe some attachment issues. If Shane is willing to kill for his mom, then I would probably bet that there's some enmeshment between the two of them, which is
What's
kind of when
that?
enmeshment is when you are a little bit too close, not in like an incestual way.
Like
Um,
Freud?
hey, what up,
Hey.
Freud? Disclaimer on that. Freud is a weirdo, but the name was catchy, so
Yeah.
we had to go with it. Enmeshment is going to look like just being too close with family in terms of boundaries. Like, so that would be like your mom being like, honey, I'm mad and I need you to kill for me. And you being like, yes, mother, I would love to kill for you.
Anything for
'Cause,
you, Mom.
yeah, that's not a good boundary. So there's definitely like some familial stuff going on there. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Yeah. Okay. Thinking about Brooke's son, Josh,
Mhm.
we could definitely give him some sort of adjustment disorder. And adjustment disorder is basically exactly what it sounds like. You're having trouble adjusting to something. So that could be like adjusting to a move, adjusting to someone new coming into your life, like a step parent or something like that. And it sounds like Josh probably struggled with, well, it sounds like you mentioned he was bullied, so they had to move, then had to fit in at this new school, I'm assuming at least, and then had Tim in his life, and then Tim left his life, and then Shane comes in and is his dad all of a sudden, and then, of course, there's the plot twist of him killing his own dad, which is going to set him up for a lot of trauma, a lot of attachment issues, probably later on in his life. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to develop some behavioral issues or if he feels a lot of anxiety and things like that. So poor Josh probably
Yeah.
has a tough road ahead of him, but hopefully Brooke gets him the support he needs. So if Brooke was sitting right here, this is kind of what our treatment plan would look like. We would probably do some emotional regulation skills, probably work through this crazy timeline of trauma that she experienced and just uncover how it's still affecting her and what she needs to move forward. And that could look like reprocessing in safe ways through talk therapy, could be through experiential therapy, like art therapy. So I am not EMDR certified. That is something that you could certainly use
What is
with someone who has.
EMDR? What is
Yeah.
that?
EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Okay.
So it's a great tool for people who have trauma. And basically what will happen is you'll have a therapist who is certified in this, an EMDR, and they will help you focus briefly on a traumatic memory while simultaneously experiencing bilateral stimulation. And bilateral stimulation is like moving your eyes side to side, tapping or tone. So it's basically you want to engage both parts of your brain while you're reprocessing a memory to keep you more grounded and reduce the intensity of the trauma. So a lot of times that'll look like a therapist using a light bar, which is literally like a bar and it has a light that kind of goes back and forth. So you're talking to them. Yeah, exactly. You're moving your eyes, you're talking to them, and they're guiding you through this reprocessing of traumatic memories in a really safe way. And you have to be like in a good headspace to start it. You don't just like meet your therapist and jump right into it. So anyway, I am not EMDR certified, but that is something that someone could do with Brooke in particular.
If you had like Brooke as a client and you felt like she needed that, would you like refer out?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, definitely. I would refer out. That's not within like what we call like our scope of practice. There are other ways to work through trauma, but if I felt like we're really stuck on this is something that would be really helpful, then yeah, absolutely, I would refer her out to someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some things that could be that Brooke could do to work through some of this trauma. So, Mary, for listeners who enjoy a little bit of thriller and wildness like this book, what kind of books would you recommend they read next?
Yeah, so if they liked Frieda McFadden's writing, obviously she puts out a ton of books, and they're usually pretty short and quick and easy to read. But if you want a different author, I would recommend reading Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney.
Yes.
We actually read that as part of our book club book a few months back.
Talk about a good twist. That's
Yeah,
not
that
doing
was
too
good.
much.
Just
the right amount of twist.
Just the right amount. I would highly recommend that book. And we'll put that in the show notes too.
I would also like to put in a plug of my favorite author, Miss Karen Slaughter, the queen, in my opinion, of thrillers. Very intense, trigger warnings. Like, don't get into the book without reading maybe what it's about a little bit and looking up some stuff because it gets a little graphic. But just the queen of plot twists you didn't see coming, in my opinion. So, Mary, what would you rate The Inmate by Frieda McFadden?
I rated it, I believe, 4.25 out of 5. And the reason why it wasn't the full 5-star, I did have a really good time reading it. Like I was really hooked. It just that ending part seemed really out there and just, I don't want to say unrealistic, because a lot of stuff that happens in books is unrealistic, but this was just
That's true.
a little wacky,
a little far-fetched.
Yeah, a little you stabbed him with a large icicle. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, babe.
The icicle would have broken the one stab and started to melt in your hand.
True. That would also be a genius weapon to use, though, because it just melts away for all of our listeners out there.
You want to murder someone?
We have to stop talking about murder. My gosh, every episode. This is actually concerning.
Now we're a true crime podcast.
Yes, look out, world, and all the other millions of true crime podcasts. Right? We're here. So, from the clinical side, if you found yourself not feeling super great about this book and having some issues with Brooke and Shane and Margie and all this crazy cast of characters, your prescription for the week would be try something new. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be anything too time-consuming or financially expensive. But try to pick up a new hobby, whether maybe that is reading for pleasure if you have a minute, or doing something creative, trying to learn how to crochet, or I just bought a mini sewing machine. So that's been a wild ride.
I bet.
Grandma hobbies.
Yes.
Yeah, but try something new. It's really great for your brain. The brain absolutely loves novelty. So introducing something new and fun to your brain, even if it's a hobby that you end up being like, I hate it, that's fine. It's just nice to give our brain something new every once in a while. So that would be my prescription for the week.
Cool. Shall we read the 1-star reviews before
Please.
we wrap up here?
I love this. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Here we go. Number 1. Why does this have an average 4-star rating? It was actually garbage.
I could see it.
Yeah. Second one. Terrible. In bold lettering. I cannot believe this actually got public. I could point out many flaws and contradictions, but if you actually read the book, you should see them all pretty quickly.
Harsh.
Some of us are just trying to read and not think too much into it, Jim. Another one. Nope! Exclamation point. This was not it. Brooke Sullivan, if I ever catch you on the streets, it's hands on sight, you dummy.
Dang, not the victim shaming. I will say, Brooke Sullivan, I feel for her. She didn't do anything wrong. Well, I don't think that she should have maybe let Shane into their house so soon, but
yeah.
Who am I to judge?
Followed that up by another review. I wish Brooke died.
Dang. Okay, I feel not as bad about the things that I said about this book.
Yeah. Another one. Girl, make up your mind. Which, find your story and stick to it, you know? Someone else said, I felt my brain cells dying while reading this.
Yes.
Well, it's not a school book. You're not supposed to learn anything.
I would argue that every book should give us a little bit something to take away or think about. You're like, shut up.
Yeah, for sure. Another review. I've never disliked a book this much. This was a note for me.
Okay.
Second to last one. This one actually quotes a TikTok sound. It is so bad, I want to give you a 0. But that's not possible. So I give you a 1.
Abby Lee Miller mention.
And then the last one, my favorite one probably. Freida cooked and gave us food poisoning.
That is genius. I would like to personally have a conversation with that person.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Well, in this field, as usual, we always like to get a second opinion. So let us know, did we get the diagnosis right? Or are we just making stuff up as we go?
Slide into our DMs. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, the whole 9 yards, and let us know your thoughts.
And if you are listening on Spotify, please consider leaving a 5-star review because it acts as a little dopamine hit for us, which is incredibly regulating for our nervous system.
Oh yeah. Until next time, keep turning the pages.
And remember, reality is stressful. Read responsibly. And as we end, a quick reminder that I am a licensed therapist, but this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The discussions here are theoretical and apply to fictional characters. This is not medical advice, and I am not your therapist. And listening to this podcast does not establish a client-therapist relationship. If you are experiencing a mental health emergency, please contact 988 or go to your nearest emergency room.
And before we sign off here, I'll give you the riddle for next week's book. I'm a book that proves even the most type A person can't schedule her life 5 years out. She wakes up seeing a future she hadn't planned for, with the fiancé she hadn't said yes to previously. I am a timeline mishap and a best friend's love. Yes, I might make you cry, but I promise it's not because the type A person's color-coded planner finally got a stain.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. On that note,
all right.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.